Welcome, everyone. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. I was reading through my comments in my YouTube, and someone posted, same old gimmicks. And I was like, hmm. The funny thing about the law is that it needs no defense. The law needs no defense. When you walk outside, you're either walking outside in the daytime or the nighttime, or you're walking outside in the evening, which means you are experiencing polarity. It starts in the morning and it moves through the day, bringing us to night. It goes through the stages. In TCM, the morning is most yang. You know, yin and yang is how the West would say it, but yin and yang is how it's said in the East. So the day is most yang. And as the day progresses, it becomes yin. So it moves from yang to yin and yin to yang every single time. A beautiful motion, which is polarity, right? So that's one thing we experience. We plant and then we reap what we have planted every single time. Every single time. Hmm? We rest and then we have activity. You see, even if you don't believe, as I've always said, it is not something to believe. It is observed. And when you observe how flawlessly the pattern unfolds on a daily basis, it does something to you if you're observant. What is very interesting is that as people, we are so caught up in doing and getting and achieving that we miss something. You see, if we observed how flawlessly, yes, itty bitty, yes, I know, sweetness, I know, itty bitty, I know. See, if we observed how flawlessly things moved, our curiosity would be aroused. Truly, it would. And you would ask, well, what makes it work? What makes it work? Hmm. That's what you'd ask. Where does this perfection come from? Where does this consistency come from? That's what you would ask. Oh, sweet boy. Do you need some help? Do you need some help or are you okay? You all right? Okay. So you see, even though some may think or call it a gimmick. It's all right, because every man awakens in their own time. Truly, we go through the seasons in such a circular fashion. Winter, spring, summer, fall. We go through the seasons, and each season has its own dictate. Summer dictates that we plant, well, that we should have planted, you know. Summer is hot, which implies movement. Because when it's hot, what do you want to do? Go to the lake, go to the beach, get a Slurpee, get a snow cone, get an ice cream. Why? Cause and effect. Because it is hot, we seek movement naturally. Right? This is what it is. When we experience spring, oh, it's a big stretch, a big yawn, isn't it? Oh, pardon me. Say the word yawn and people yawn. It's a trip, isn't it? Fall. Time to pick what you have planted. Listen, I have so many Saskatoon berries outside on the bushes. I'm slightly overwhelmed. So I've got to pick them. And, maybe I'll make some jam. Maybe that's what I'll do. Right? Look at where we are. But why would you make a jam? Because come winter, you can't make it because there won't be any berries come winter. Because winter dictates relaxation, hibernation, no movement. So all of these things that we take for granted, if we would truly observe them, take the time. They always say, oh, stop and smell the roses. Why? Because if you stopped and smelled the roses, you would ask, wow, why is it so fragrant? Why is it that even if I'm blindfolded and given an array of scents, I would still be able to identify this particular flower? Not a gimmick, my friend, but law. Look at the osprey. Oh, you don't know what an osprey is? Oh, wow. A most beautiful bird. It can take off just from the water because it dives. It's kind of like an eagle and a hawk rolled into one. A little smaller, I think. But it is absolutely an amazing diver. So are pelicans. Yeah, but Angela, that's just nature. Is it? Each thing has its own pattern. The eagle does what it does. The hawk does what it does. The osprey does what it does. Even though they're all similar, they do different things that allows you to identify them, which tells you each thing has its own way, its own pattern, the principle of rhythm, just like you and I do, because we are governed. Not by force are we governed. Not at all. not force, not compliance, nothing of the sort. When I find the right word for that, I'll tell you how we're governed. Because when we hear the word government, right? Some people go into a complete tailspin because they equate what the law does, what the principles do, with what man does. And if you look at the principles, they don't coerce you, they don't trick you, they don't have fancy talk, they don't have a campaign. But the principles are straight up what they are. Mentalism, the all is mind. What is the all? Ooh. The all. Someone also asked, where's the mind in time and space? Wherever you are. Remember, mind is not brain. Mind is the invisible thing that runs everything. Everything comes from that. So the mind is the awareness of one's self. So wherever you are aware. So the mind is everywhere all at once. It is everywhere all at once. Omnipresent, if you will. Right? So when you look around, pay attention. This is what I always stress to you. You begin to move in slow motion, you know, when you pay attention. Yes? It feels like you move in slow motion. When you take the time to observe what is going on around you. I'm not talking politics. I'm not talking religion. That's not what I mean by observe. I mean observe what's going on within you, and you will see what's going on the outside, and you will see that they match. And that's the micro level, because that's you. But then you expand from there, and you begin to see also on the macro level, the larger scale, that what's going on collectively inside people is what's happening on the outside. So you see, my beautiful friends, it saddens me a little that because we live in a capitalistic society, everything we do is geared towards paying bills, survival. That's what it comes down to. And so the part that saddens me is that some people have chosen to monetize the principles under the umbrella of law of attraction, manifestation, to make it sound so gimmicky, which taints the eye and the ear and the heart, makes it sticky so that people can't see their way through it. But if you slow down, you will see for yourself very clearly the principles at work. You'll see it. Everything moves through stages. including you and me. One day you could be a cynic, but then you're walking down the street and you have an aha moment. Kind of like, this is why I like Bible stories, because you can apply them if you know what to do. You see, Saul was the biggest persecutor. This is the story. Even if you want to talk about Odysseus, any kind of Greek mythology, they're all stories. But can you apply it? See, now, Saul was the biggest persecutor of Christians, allegedly. And he was on the road again. He was traveling to Damascus. And he was like, well, I'm going to give me some Christians. Hello. And as he is on the road, he's blinded. The question is, was he blinded as he was on the road, or was he always blind? Needless to say, he now was at the mercy of others. He was at the mercy of others to get him where he wanted to go, to do what it was he had set out to do. And now he was led to a destination. He was led to a destination. And as he got to his destination, he came to the realization of what he was doing. Because he realized his vulnerability. He said, what am I doing? He saw his blindness. We think about that phrase. He saw his blindness. And then he realized, wait a minute. So the very thing sometimes that we push so hard against, and we say, that's not true, that's a gimmick. It's all right. Because just like Saul, so too will the scales fall off your own eyes. And this happens to each and every one of us. The scales will fall off each and every one of our eyes, and then we will see that which is. None of us are exempt from it. You don't think I have scales on my eyes in whatever area of life? We all do. But we come to the awareness, and the scales fall off. Then you see. So if you're a staunch believer, or you're an atheist, or whatever you want to be, agnostic. I'm throwing out words because I don't even know what those words mean. Agnostic, I have no idea what that means. But it doesn't matter. What is most important is, when you hear a story, can you apply the theme of the story to your own life so that you can change? Or do you just hear the story and judge, thereby remaining in the blindness? You see, my beautiful friends, the principles are. They just are. I didn't put them there. I didn't put them there. But because they work so flawlessly, I am intrigued to understand, what did it? How? What? Like, it's so intriguing. that I am always aware, which is mentalism. You're always aware. Even when you're saying, "Well, I don't know," you are always aware. You can't not be aware. Are there levels to awareness? Yes. It's called learning. You learn something, you now become aware of that. So the more you learn, the more aware you become, which is the natural progression, right? So what are you aware of? Well, then, what you are aware of, well, then you will do. As within, so without. Why? Because everything moves. Nothing stands still. And it is constantly moving through polarity, which is a phase, a stage. Just like you learn one thing, now your mind is open. And you're doing what you've just learned, applying what you've just learned. You're moving through the stages of polarity. Because we're always becoming something. We're always becoming. That's what polarity is. You start off as one thing, which is what you declare yourself to be. I am. I felt like He-Man and She-Ra there for a minute. I have the power. You know what? That's what I felt like when I said that. That's what you start off as. And you begin to, the more you practice that thing, the more developed you become as it, which takes you towards the end, which would be the fulfillment of that thing, so that you can do what? Do it again, and do it again some more. And as you begin to do things and it unfolds in this scale, this stage of polarity, it will show you its rhythm. It will show you its pattern. When I first started my job, it was slow, to say it nicely. Yes, it was slow. But something, it gradually increased. Now, why is gradual important? Gradual, this is why polarity is beautiful. Gradual gives you time to learn and to absorb the information so that you can do it and do it well. This is why things are gradual and go in stages. There's a seed, a sprout, right? A sapling, tree, blossom, fruit, to seed again. The stages are gradual so that you can, for lack of a better phrase, be eased into what you're doing. Or else we'd face great overwhelm. So in the stages of polarity, you begin to see something called mercy. Why? Because it's giving you time to learn, time to apply, so that you can grow and become strong to get to the next stage. So if you look at polarity, you'd begin to understand that you were never meant to be weak, because it gives you time to gain your strength. You understand? This is why the stages are so important. My workmate, she goes, "Oh, I'm so done being pregnant." She goes, "I am so ready for this baby." Stages. At first, when I first started, I didn't know she was pregnant. You couldn't see anything. But over time, gradually the body expands to accommodate, giving her time, right? You ever notice when kids go through growth spurts real quick, they end up with a lot of stretch marks, right? Mm-hmm. It was fast and it was painful. But I've watched my child grow, and he's just gradually growing, just like little Chicoletta, gradually growing. Because as you are gradually growing, there's something you're learning in that stage. Good, bad, or indifferent. So you see, even if we want to say that the principles are a gimmick, it's all right. It's all right. Because they're not a flash in the pan, darling. They will always be here. We came and found them, and we will leave, and they will still be here. And wherever we go, they will be there as well. So that's what's so beautiful about it. So here we are in these stages of polarity. And as we go through the stages, each stage, because of the principle of rhythm, can be identified. That's what makes it brilliant. It begins, when you see it, it begins to show you what you're looking at as it goes through the stage. So you can name each stage. And you'll know where you're at. That's the principle of rhythm, the ebb and the flow. Ebb, flow, and compensation. That's rhythm. Rhythm always compensates. How far you go to the left is how far you come back. If you go 90 degrees, you have to come back 90 degrees. Why? Because as within, so without. 90 degrees within, 90 degrees on the outside. Rhythm will always compensate. Because it has to. It's the pattern. So that when you see where you're at, you can say, oh, I'm at that stage now. Why would you know you're at that stage? Because it has its own way of unfolding. Which leads us where? Every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. Which tells us what exactly? That there are no surprises. If you do this, that's going to happen. The best way to do it is, I say it like this. You reap what you've sown. We think it's scripture. No, it's not. It's principle. Like right now, we're into summer, and there'll be lots of BC peaches and BC cherries. You can just, when you drive by, somebody will have them in the back of a truck on the roadside, right? Or you'll have Tabor corn. Oh, you actually have to have a certificate to prove that it is Tabor corn. If you've never had Tabor corn, heaven help us all. It is absolutely the sweetest corn you've ever had. And it's synonymous with us in the province here. And why would I tell you that? Because if I go to buy corn, what can I safely presume? Well, that corn was planted. He did not plant cherry trees and get corn off of them. When I go to the peach man at his truck, I can safely presume that it wasn't an apple tree that he picked them from. So you see, everything that we do is governed by those principles. So if your attitude is whatever it is, you can safely presume, as my grandfather would say, behave the way you want to be treated. Why? Because he understood the principle of as within, so without. He understood correspondence. Yeah, but Angela, what if I behave the way I want to be treated and I'm still mistreated? Stay faithful to what you are. You're not responsible for somebody else's behavior. See, that's why we try and police other people. That's their behavior, and their behavior has its own consequence, its own effect. Because when I say consequence, we think punishment. I don't want you to think in the terms of punishment and reward. Because the moment you start thinking in terms of punishment and reward, you will do anything for the reward, wouldn't you? Or you would do anything to avoid the punishment. Which means what? Are you true to you, or are you true to the circumstance? But if you look at it in terms of cause and effect, you now get to decide, what would I like to experience? What is the effect I would like to have? Then be the cause. Because every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. You know, there's a saying, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. That's a principle of correspondence. Think about it. Somebody's telling you, don't start nothing, and there won't be nothing. So what are you starting? Well, then you can safely presume, if you start a particular thing, you know that popular saying we have, the FAFO. I think I said it right. Exactly. It's the principle of correspondence. You F around, you find out. Always in terms of what you did. You, not me, you. So even though it might look as if it is random, it is not. I want you to think in terms of marketing now, because marketing is not exempt from the principles. Marketing follows the principles to a T. Marketing seeks to bring about an effect, so it generates a cause. That's exactly what it does. Cause and effect. So as much as sometimes you would want to say, oh, the principles are a gimmick, the law is a gimmick, it's all right. We all start there at some point, don't we? And you know why we say it's a gimmick? Because somewhere along the line we were disappointed. We were disappointed because we fell for the flash in the pan. Granddaddy always said to me, don't let a dollar make you a fool. We say it in the West as every man has his price. Think about that. Each according to his own merit, which means as within, so without. You will behave accordingly to what you say you are. I don't know who you say you are till you act. Because who you say you are is invisible until you embody it to show me. Maya Angelou, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Because they're not telling you who they are. Because words, I tell you, words can be slick. But they show you, don't they? And sometimes they don't even know that they're showing you, because we've been doing it for so long. That's why I tell you, we will always show the contents of what is within each and every one of us. You can run, but you can't hide. We always show the contents of what is within us. There's also that saying that, I don't even remember how it goes, along the lines of, somebody may think you're a fool, but don't open your mouth to prove them right. Something along those lines. You know what I'm talking about. Fan base, if you know what it is, put it in the chat for me. How to say it, because it's just a paraphrase, right? Which is telling us always, as within, so without. That's why you don't judge. Just observe. Just observe. No, you're not going to hurt my feelings if you think the principles and the law is a gimmick. They don't need my defense. I'm simply explaining to you where the law is so that when you get up in the morning, you'll be intrigued and want to know more, which will help you to discover what? The beauty that is within you. That's what it is. Hmm? Hmm. That's what's so beautiful, isn't it? Ooh. Oh, Sheila, darling. But that's it. Each person's behavior, and the way you say it is, each person according to their own merit. So whatever that person is, remember, rhythm compensates. So whatever they are, to what degree they're it, is what you will experience. Right? That's what it comes down to, which allows us to look at ourselves without judgment. Without judgment. I read somewhere, this guy did a post and he said he loves watching people as they're in pain. This is why he became a paramedic. And I was like, I said, what now? And the more I sat with that, I said, oh, well, as within, so without. It's not that he loves the pain. It's just that he's been in pain habitually for so long that it became distorted, that he would like to see it in other people. You see why you don't judge? Some would call him a monster. I'm like, but dude, look at what it is. As within, so without. He's drawn to pain, not because he's mean or uh, a creep or anything, but because he has suffered great pain. And because no one was really there to be a balm to soothe and to teach, it became distorted over time. You see what I'm saying to you? That's why I say, if you observe, you will understand each other. Thereby, you'll understand that there's only you as an awareness. He was keenly, think about it, he was keenly aware of what he was doing because he saw it. He saw it. But when you go back and you dig a little, then you understood why he did what he did. So then, earlier I mentioned not to think in terms of punishment and reward. Because if you punish that person, you've just added to the pain. You don't, every moment is a teaching opportunity. Every single moment is a teaching opportunity. You understand? Rehabilitate, soothe. That's what's required. Even for the most heinous of things, my friends, the word heinous would be the judgment. Because I put it on a scale of, well, this one is kind of bad, but that one's real bad. See, I put it on a scale. I put it on a stage. I used polarity to say, well, this one is way worse. And we even say it as such, the punishment fitting the crime. Rhythm compensates. Why must the punishment fit the crime? Why? Because it always has to match. And when it doesn't match, it feels, you understand when you hear, well, the punishment was too harsh. It didn't call for all of that, right? You see, so everywhere we turn in our lives, the principles are ever there. They look like they are in the shadows, but there's nothing shadow about them, the way that shadow is interpreted nowadays. The principles are, for me, I think, the brightest of lights. And if some people say in the scripture that you can't look upon the face of God. Or when Moses, uh, it said that God hid his face. He put his hand in front of Moses' face, and then when he got to a further distance, he took his hand off so that Moses would not be overwhelmed, right? Allegedly. So when you look at the principles, right, and what they do, you begin to draw a picture. It it comes out kind of shadowy though, because we can't really truly see it. You get a glimpse though of how balanced it is. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. I didn't forget about gender. We just didn't get there yet because allegedly I prattle. But when you see how smoothly, I want to say, that one flows into the other, it's not that one is flowing into the other. It is just that one unfolds and shows you itself and its inner workings. The principles show you the inner workings of something. I do not, other than to say the all, I don't know what it is. Because we cannot put it into words. We are not at that stage quite yet. Paul said in the scripture, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child. You see the stage we're at? And then he also says, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. He's showing you the stage of polarity. We are at the child stage at this present moment. Because we can see, but not quite grasp the depth of it, of the principles. Because, as I say, the principles show you the inner workings of something. Something has turned itself inside out. Inside out. Boy, you turn me. You know what? It has turned itself inside out. Why? As within, so without. It has turned itself inside out. It is showing you what it contains within. That is what is so beautiful and rouses the curiosity to ask, well, what is it? What am I looking at when I see the principles? I tell you something. You stop and you ask yourself that question. You know what happens when one asks a question? You get an answer. Funny, I didn't ask you though, a little bit. Sorry if he scared you. A little bit is awake. Yes, little bit. And Lady and Chicoletta, uh, she brought the baby out and they're sleeping outside my door. That's where, and you know what I did? Because it's on top of the stairs. And last night I brought Lil Bit up and he was there, Lady was there, and little Chicoletta was there. And I fell asleep with them right there on the stairs. That's what I mean when I say you stop and you smell the roses. And you just take the time to ask, how does it all work? Because I'm watching her teach her baby. I'm watching it. Even when that baby, Chicoletta is something else. She's still not like popcorn though. Chicoletta she got her beak on Lady's lower eyelid and she just pulled it. Lady didn't do anything. She didn't even shake her head. Chicoletta climbs, and I know Popcorn used to climb all over Lady. She didn't do anything. Why I tell you that? Because every moment is a teaching opportunity. So she's teaching the baby. And it's interesting, she'll make a sound. And because I used to see Popcorn do it. And this sound, Popcorn will perk up and then he'll run and hide. So she was training him. And each stage was always different of his learning. Each stage was always different. So you see, we go through those same stages, my friends. And finally, to end on gender, we generate. Always, we're in a state of generation. How do you know you're in a state of generation? Look at polarity and you'll see it. But to flip into polarity, you've got to choose something. So to come up with the idea. Oh, you fell over, sugar buns. Get up, you're all right. It's all right. Well, there you go. You got your footing back. Um, when we generate the idea, it means we come up with the seed, which is masculine. It is invisible. But then, as we move through the stages from invisible to becoming visible, which is feminine, it is the embodiment. Yes. And then we start the process all over again. So my beautiful friends today, who's with us? A couple of people stopped in on Twitter today. You know how it is. Who do we have on YouTube? Well, the better man is in the chat. Ow. Hey, the better man. And there's a couple other people there too. But they didn't say hello in the chat, but I'll say, hey, y'alls. Fan base, you're kicking it with us today. Who? KZ. KZ! You know, I am hoping that yesterday I did not insult you. Because that was not the intent. Like, truly. Because somebody said to me, you said what? You compared somebody to your chicken. I didn't compare her to the chicken. I compared her to the gentleness of my hen, the sweetness of my hen. Like, Lady is phenomenal. She just is. And that's what KZ reminds me of. That softness, that sweetness, that... So I'm trusting. And I figured, you know what? I'd say it here live, like I said it live, so that I could, you know, be whatever that is. But I trust that because I meant no offense by it. Yeah? Thank you, sweet KZ. Ray Ray is in the house. Miss McQueen is in the house. Miss McQueen. Girl, Chicoletta is so cute. With her little black feet. Yeah. Where Popcorn was bright white, she's got these black feet. But you know, Flo smiles. Hey, girl. I see you. Michael. Hello. Oracle Tree House. Oh, Michael has gone to work now. Oracle Tree House. Moon and Dolphin Duck. Ah, Miss Deborah. I see you. Hello. I see you. But if I didn't call your name on fan base, it's because I didn't see you. And yes, a little bit. Yep, a little bit is here in all of his glorious splendor. He sure is. Anyway, I trust that as you go through the day today, right? Take your time. Recognize where you are at. Just recognize. Yes, a little bit. We know what time you're at. We know what stage you're in. You're in the morning stage. You're in the AM stage. Somebody suggested I get birds because they make a sweet song. And I was like, well, my bird, he makes a sweet song too. He sure does. Anywho, countdown initiated. Flow smiles. Flow smiles. Don't let a dollar make you a fool. Flow smiles. That's what that means. That's what that means. Yeah. Ah, it's all good. It really is. But countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah. I will see you on the morrow, right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, fan base, soon to be TikTok. Okay. 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Much love to each and every one of you. Go forth and yes, enjoy the day is what he said. Love you. Peace out. Twitter is closed.